Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to the program. Today, we're going to work on menus and toolbars and stuff. And there's this thing that some programs do that I really like, which is when you hover over different menu items like this, if the application has a status bar, then the status bar is used to display a longer description of what that menu item does. And for example, in CLine, they do this, where you can see at the bottom of the screen when I put my mouse cursor over these different menu items that it actually displays a longer string. So here I'm hovering over settings, and at the bottom it says edit application settings. So it's kind of a longer name for the action. And if we just open like the Mate text editor here, we can see that they have the same behavior. So it's interesting. And let's see, do they do that for toolbar as well? No, they have tooltips on toolbar items. But I think it would be nice if we did that for toolbar items as well, because why not? It doesn't hurt to be consistent. Let's see what CLine does. I don't have a toolbar, but I know that I can turn it back on. And yeah, in CLine, they actually show these longer names in the toolbar, or for the toolbar as well. So I think we're going to replicate that. In order to do this, though, we're going to need to hack the Windows server first, because currently menu navigation is completely segregated from the application. So text editor doesn't know that I'm navigating its menus right now. And we're going to need to inform it about that so that it can update its status bar, potentially, right? And then the toolbar, that's in the application, so that will be a bit more straightforward. But the real question is how to abstract this, because I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that. So the one thing that we have in common here between the toolbar and the menu bar is that both of them contain actions on the client side. So when you build a menu or a toolbar in your GUI application, you create a set of actions, and actions can be inserted both into a menu and into a toolbar. So the new action here is actually the same in both the menu and the toolbar. So the action is probably the logical place to put the longer description. And then what we would want is probably some kind of event, like action entered, action leave, or something like that. Sort of like we have enter and leave events for widgets when you move the cursor in and out of the rectangle around a widget. But let's just start by adding code to the Windows server to notify the client about menu items being entered and left. So we'll start by just going to the Window Client IPC protocol definition, and we'll add something new here, like well, we have menu item activated, actually, so I guess we can put it next to that, like menu item entered. So we have the menu ID and the identifier, and the identifier is just, it's the client side, it's a client side index into a vector of menu items. We just use it so that Windows Server and the client program are talking about the same item. So maybe something like that. It matches the window entered, window left. So that's probably okay. So let's add those, and then in Windows Server, where we set hovered index, is that the thing? Yes. This thing needs to notify the client if the currently hovered thing is changing. So I think we'll move this out of line. This is called on a menu whenever the currently hovered index changes. So we'll just put that down here. Now we are in Windows Server, to be clear. So if the hovered item index is already indexed, then this is a no op. Otherwise, if old hovered item is hovered item, then so what do we want to do? We want to notify the client that we are leaving this menu item. So we had one, and then if I guess if we have a client, right? So not all menus have clients. It is possible for Windows Server to have its own menus, like the like this window menu, like this, for example. I think that's clientless because it's generated by the Windows Server. Let me actually see how we construct that. It's called the window menu. And yeah, we call menu construct, pass in a null client. So the window menu has no client. So we have to handle that case. Although perhaps we should notify the client about hovering things in that thing. What happens if, let's see, if you hover these here in the window menu in Mate, nothing happens. But I think that's almost like, I can see why that would be architecturally tricky for them to support that here in the Linux environment, but we can probably solve that much more easily since we control everything. But let's call that like future plans, because let's not get distracted with the window menu, and instead we will simply do client post message messages window client. Okay, we need to actually fire off a build here so that we generate the new IPC messages, and then menu item entered. Or no, this is actually left. And then we need to pass our menu ID and the old hovered item identifier. Boom. And actually, is that the right type? The identifier is unsigned. Okay. I think there's just a mismatch in the IPC definitions versus what we actually store. So that's kind of stupid. So they're U32s. Well, we can switch them to that. I think there's probably a handful of things in Windows Server where we're mixing I32 and U32 kind of carelessly. We should definitely look over those at some point. Anyway, so after we set the thing, then I guess if new hovered item is hovered item, and we have a client, messages, window client, menu item entered, new hovered item identifier. Okay, so now we'll be sending those messages, hopefully, and Windows Server connection will receive them on the client side. So we have to add them here next to menu item activated, I guess. So entered and left. Oopsie doopsie. Okay, and then no, not handshake, handler. Okay, and I'm trying to get used to East Const style, so let's try that out. Okay, so first we look up the menu by menu ID, and if it's bogus, we don't actually have this menu, then Windows Server connection received menu item entered for invalid menu ID. Yeah. Okay. So that's a strange situation where Windows Server is sending us something. But this sort of thing can happen if you're sort of destroying a menu while there are unprocessed events in the queue. So at the moment we don't crash on these or anything because it's technically could happen. So anyway, let's see. So what do we do with this? We have, let's see, what does menu item activated do? It looks up, asks the menu for an action corresponding to the identifier. So I guess that's just a vector lookup. Yeah. So in our case, though, we wanted something more like, we want to find out if there's an action. So let's look up if there's an action. Because really what we want to tell the client is, hey, this action has been entered, or this action has been left, because then we can have the same handling for menu items and toolbars if it's just action entered, action left, right? Or action enter, action leave, maybe. But yeah, I think that would work. So message identifier, and then if no action. Okay, so this thing doesn't have a corresponding action, that's fine. But if it does, then where do we send the event? We want to send an event to somebody so that they can react, but menus are not necessarily attached to a window. They can be, but they could also be context menus. So they don't, there's currently no way to go from a menu identifier to a window. Maybe we don't need to. Maybe we can just, what if we just go to the application object? So, well, if we don't have it, that means that we are tearing down the application right now. So we're like quitting. So just ignore. But if we do have it, then event loop current post event to the app. Make an action event maybe with a special type like action enter, and we'll give you the action. Okay, yeah, I think this is gonna be very good actually, because this will be very easy to do for the toolbar. So this one becomes action leave, and then we just need to come up with an action event class. So we put that in GUI.h. Action enter, action leave, drag enter, drag leave. See, we already have some other enter and leave. So action event is a public GUI event which takes a type, and let's just take an action. Oh wait, why is that not? Oh, we don't have the forwarding header. That's fine. And maybe we should put this in a non-null ref footer actually. Yeah, I think that's probably better because then we don't have to think about lifetime with this thing. If you allow an event to have a raw pointer to something, it can be very tricky to do stuff in the event handler that might change the lifetime of that pointee, right? So let's just sidestep all of those type of issues like that. And I guess we'll just do this. And I already forgot about east const, so let's something like that. You don't like, I don't know what you don't like. And then we'll put these out of line so that we don't need to include action.h. Here. Pass the type to the base class, and then maction is action. And we'll put you here. And let's, boom. Cool. So that feels kind of good. So wait, so what are we doing now? So now we are creating action enter and action leave events, which have a pointer to the action, and we're passing those to the application object. So then let's go, and I think this one doesn't actually have an event override, but we can totally add that. Because why not? It's just we never had an application level event before, but it should totally be a thing. Object event, okay. If event type is GUI event action enter, or if it's action leave, then the action event is and the action is action event action. Okay. And then what do we do? So I guess at this point, we want to fire some kind of hook. So at least that's how we'll do this at first. Maybe maybe there should be a way to sort of connect your main application status bar to the application object or something like that. I don't know, but for now, let's just make a hook. So maybe something like, let's do it like this. On action enter. On action leave. And then you can hook those on your application object if you like. Okay, so if action event type GUI event action enter, and we have one of those, then on action enter action. Cool. Else it's a leave, so we'll call leave. Okay. That's really cool. Okay, so then let's try this out in the text editor app, I guess, which creates its UI. The UI is in text editor widget. Status bar. Where's the status bar made? Oh, it's in GML. Well, that's fine. So I guess we'll have something like GUI application the. Wait, what's going on? GUI application the. on action enter. And we only need statusbar here, so let's try something simple like set text action text. And if we leave, yeah, so this is going to be a bit messy because it will like override whatever's currently on there. Left. I'll just or we'll set it empty. But right now we're just messing around, right? So I think the text editor uses the status bar to put the text cursor, so like which line and column you're on. And once you leave the menu, we don't want that thing to just be erased. We want it to go back to the cursor. So I guess we don't want to just set the text like this and have it, and even have it be possible to collide with the cursor status, but rather we want this to use something more like set override text or something like that. So I think we can have a concept of override text in the status bar, but we'll get to that in a moment. First, we're just going to test out that this works at all. Okay, so TE, and look at that, we can see them down here. Although nothing happens when I leave. Klook, klook. Oh, that's a bit weird. So when I leave to switch to another menu, it seems like we don't actually produce the leave event when the cursor leaves like that. I wonder if that's because Windows Server keeps track of where you were. That doesn't seem to actually. Nope. Okay, so we need to figure that out, but generally though, the mechanism looks pretty cool. Of course, now we're just showing the same text as here, and we need to have some concept of a more descriptive text, but you know, we're just getting started. And let's try to do the same in toolbars. So GUI toolbar CPP. So the way the toolbar works is that when you call add action on toolbar, we instantiate a toolbar button, which is a helper widget here in the toolbar CPP file. And toolbar button extracts information from an action object and creates a suitable button for it, and then puts that in the toolbar. So in our case, I guess we want to just override enter and leave event handlers for this thing. So enter event, which I think it's a core event. And it inherits from button, so button and same thing with the leave event. So set action. Okay, so I can look up my action, right? Action. Wait, how do I find my action? M action. There's no, okay, well, I'm gonna add an accessor for that. So action. Okay, and then if action. Maybe we'll write it this way. If app and action. Event loop, current post event. Okay, we need some includes here. And let's fix that up. Okay. Action event type action enter. Yes. Yeah, and then the same thing in the leave event handler. So action leave. Let's see how that goes. Would be sweet if that just kind of worked. Yeah, at some point the application accessor, the singleton accessor used to be returning a reference, but at some point we had to change it to a pointer because during application shutdown, at some point the application object goes away, so we couldn't guarantee that it always returned a reference, which was a little bit frustrating. Well, there might be some ways around that. I don't know. I haven't looked super closely, but it's not a top priority or anything. Okay, look at that. That's so cool. It just works. You leave. Yeah. So let's figure out why the menu items don't behave quite as nicely when I leave here. Because it's still there. I didn't get that leave event. Menu set hovered index. Oh, wait. Maybe we're not calling set hovered index. So who sets this? Yeah, right. So menu cleared hovered item. But I feel like this could just do set hovered index -1 like that. Because why not? And then I guess we don't want to close everything just because we're hovering outside of something. So we'll do it maybe this way. Oops, like that. Okay, let's try this. Okay, yeah, that was pretty simple. Right, so now the issue was just that there was a separate helper for clearing the currently hovered menu item. And now I just made it call set hovered item index so that they go through the same code path, which allows us to send out the menu item left message, and we are good. That's awesome. Okay, so next step is to add an action, like a string to actions that specify a longer description, I guess. So what should we call that? Like I mean, we have text, and should we just have long text? I guess we can have long text. I don't know. Also, why does that return string like that? I don't know. Let's say long text. Although long text sounds like it could be really long, it's more like a longer text. But let's call it long text. That's okay. Let's set long text. Okay, so we're good with those, and then we just need a place to keep this. So m long text. that's fine. And then I guess what we should do is in text editor widget here. So text is going to be action long text, or if we don't have a long text, if text is empty, then text is action text. And this thing might have ampersands for the alt shortcut, so we're gonna actually go ahead and there's some API to parse those out. I think it's in font parse ampersand string is in Painter. Okay. Wait, isn't that included here? Oh, I guess not. Painter. Yeah, this is a little bit awkward, but we'll make it. Okay, so parse ampersand string text. I think we'll just do that for now. Action text. Yes. Okay, let's try that. Oh, and of course we should actually set some long text. So maybe like make open action. We can set something here. So it's using all these convenience constructors. It's kind of annoying. Let's try something like this. Set long text, open an existing document. Also, should these be book title case? I'm not sure. Maybe. These folks don't do book title case. What about here? These are not book title case. Maybe not using book title case makes sense here because it's like supposed to be a longer text, much less restricted. So let's try regular case capitalization like that, and then yeah, I mean it's not a bad thing to do it this way. Save the current document. Save the current document with a what do we call that? Save as. I gotta look at it. What do they say? Save as. Save the current file with a different name. Oh, I like that. Open an existing file. Save the current file. Save the current file with a new name. Yeah, and you know, we don't have to come up with names for all of these or long texts for all of them, and just to do a handful and we'll see how it goes. But generally, I think this is going to turn out very nice. It's not ideal that you have to do so much in your on action enter hook. Like ideally, this would be handled automatically somehow. So we'll look at that. But here, let's see. Yeah, that totally works. Okay, new. Cool. Okay, so let's do some commits before we make too big of a mess here. So we'll do the Windows Server stuff first, I think. Just sending out those notifications to the client. Windows Server connection, just receiving them, and then posting action events. Yeah, we'll do those. That's perfect. So nothing in text editor widget, nothing with the actions, nothing with the long text. Ignoring that. Yep. But the event stuff. Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. Windows Server plus the GUI. Notify Windows Server clients about menu item enter leave. GUI clients, let's say. We now send out menu item entered and menu item left messages to the window, to the client when the user hovers, unhovers menu items. This will allow clients to implement, to react to this happening, to these events, let's say. Yes, okay. And then, oh, actually we should, these become, on the client side, these become action event. Either with one of two types. Action enter or action leave. Client program, GUI programs, GUI applications. They are sent to the application. Okay. And then, let's see, let's do the long text on action. I think that's an interesting one, so we'll just do that. Add a long text concept to GUI action, or string, let's say. An actions can now have a longer text description in addition to its regular UI string. Longer text will be used to display a more detailed description of hovered actions in status bars. Soon. Will soon be used. There we go. Okay, and I think then we just wanted to expose an accessor for the action on button. So I think we'll do that one separately just because it's so... It can just be its own thing. Oh shoot, wait, that's not the one I wanted. Button H, yes. GUI, add an action accessor on GUI button. I suppose they were accessors because we have const and non-const variants, so that's fine. And then let's do the application object stuff where we have these hooks now for on action enter and on action leave. Add action enter leave hooks on GUI application. Apps can now hook into these events by assigning a callback to the on action enter and on action leave hooks on GUI application. Cool. And the toolbar class, we're going to generate action events as well. The GUI make, oops, we need to run the Clang format, I see. GUI. Make GUI toolbar buttons generate action enter and action leave. Leave, yeah. This means that now it doesn't matter. Now you'll get the same event whether you hover an action in the menus or in a toolbar. Let's say in a menu or in a toolbar. That's pretty cool. I really like that, actually. That's it's one of those things where controlling the whole toolkit for everything makes it super easy for us to do something like this, which I really, really like. I love it when you feel the tight integration of the system working in your favor, right? Like when all it takes to achieve some lovely cooperation between components is like 5 lines of code and everything just works together. That's really cool. Anyway, let's see. So the thing that remains now is just the glue code here in the text editor widget. But let's see if we can improve that a little bit first with statusbar, because I don't like that statusbar has only set text. It should have a set override text as well, I think. So set text is equivalent, I guess, to set text. Right, so statusbar can have one or more segments. By default, it has a single segment, so a segment that spans the entire statusbar. I'll show you what that means. So in the text editor, we just have a single segment down here. It just goes from all the way over here to all the way over there. In the system monitor, for example, we have 3 segments. So processes, threads, and CPU usage. And there are other things I would like to add there as well. So probably 1 or 2 more segments related to memory, for example. But yeah, so that's what a segment is. So when we call set text, that just means touch the first segment, right? Like set the text of the first segment. But I think right now it's a label object. Okay. So probably what we want to do is we want to have some sort of override string that you can set. And then if you unset the override string, it goes back to whatever it was before. So we'll have something like something like this, and we can also do it for an individual segment. Also, I'm not sure why these take int. Actually, that's kind of strange. Maybe let's change it to size t. I think this thing shouldn't be just a label pointer because we also need to store the override string somewhere. So we'll make something like this. Label and override string. Let's say override text. Yeah. And then we'll have a vector of segment. Okay. And then we have to update this code a little bit. So m segments append we'll just do this. Label is that. Override text is that. And you didn't like me doing that because I mean, that's really gross, but now it looks a little bit better. I do like writing code this way. It looks kind of neat to me when you're using these designated initializers with structs. So let's see. M segments, or no, let's just turn this thing into a forwarding thingy. So move text. And we can update these to use size T as well. Because why the heck not? Segments at index dot label text should be fine. And M segments at index label. Sure. Now, should text return the text or the override text? Well, it should return the text, I think. So text 0. Yeah, these are just helpers. They could even be implemented in the header, actually, but it doesn't matter. So, okay, so let's do status bar set override text. Oh, dang it, we need to remember the text somewhere. Yeah. Okay, hold on, I didn't think this through fully. Segments at, oh. I guess we don't need an API for extracting the override text right now. Okay, override text, sure. Okay, and then also now my syntax highlighting has broken, so I'm just gonna I never know what to do exactly, so I just use this invalidate caches to restart cline when that happens. It usually works when it comes back up. I think this is maybe my main issue with cline is that sometimes the syntax highlighting engine seems to just die. It came back up. Interesting. I should look at that at some point, taking a screenshot for later. I like to take screenshots of these tip of the day screens sometimes if it's something relevant, and then I can go and look at it at the end of the day, where I take everything that's on my desktop and I put it in my stuff that used to be on the desktop folder. I like to look at whatever screenshots I took during the day. Anyway, so when we set a text, I guess what we want to do is update label for the index, right? So instead here, we'll just store this. Text is like that. And then we will make an update label helper thing. Okay, yeah, this is how it's going to be. Yes. That's pretty basic stuff, but it'll be nice to make this work. So segments at index label set text is either let's do it this way. Segment is set text. Segment override text is If the override text is null, then use the segment text. Otherwise, use the segment override text. That's it. And then we just have to do that after you set the text or the override text. Not there, but here. Cool. Okay, and then status bar set text. We're instead going to use set override text. And of course, you pass in a null string if you want to clear the override text. Okay, that took weirdly long to write that code, but let's see if we can get back on track here. So line 53, we have some kind of Dumbo. Is it that I need to do that? Missing initializer for the text field. Right, forgot about the text field, obviously. If I put a comma here, what happens? Oh, that looks so much better. Yes, let's do that. Yeah, I did not like this style here, so adding that comma just pushes everything to the next line, which makes it look so much better. Okay, so now we have some cursor info at the bottom. We go up here, do this, we leave, it shows the cursor again. That's really nice, really, really nice. And these work as well. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I just love it. That's so good. It's going to be even better once we add all the long text. And I'm thinking, should we show the keyword shortcut down there as well? You know, we could. They don't do it here, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. We currently show the keyboard shortcut on tooltips, which I think is really neat. They don't do that here for anything. I really like surfacing shortcuts in that way, because it allows people to discover what the shortcuts to things are. I mean, here they're actually, you have it right under the mouse cursor, so it's kind of already staring you in the face. But with these, it's less obvious, although the tooltip makes it really obvious, actually. I don't know, maybe it's kind of redundant. I don't know. I can't decide, so I'm gonna not do it. So we'll think about that one some more. For now, let's just add the override concept to status bar. I think that's a really, really good addition, because it allows you to put a temporary string on the status bar without losing whatever was on there. libgui add override text to GUI status bar. Each status bar segment now has an optional override text which can be set, and if non-null will be displayed instead of the regular text. This allows programs to display contextual information in the status bar without losing temporarily, let's say, without losing whatever text was already on there. Yeah, that's really neat. Okay, and do I like this whole thing here, or do I think we can do better? I think we can do better, because I don't want to go and do this in every frickin' app, right? So I think what we can do instead is have some API like this: GUI application the set main status bar. like this. Let's try this out. GUI application.h. I don't love this API, but I think we can make it work. So like that. And actually, let's get rid of these two. And we'll just keep it in a weak pointer. Yeah, so GUI status bar. Also, why am I calling it main status bar? Let's just call it. Let's go. Okay. Let's go with main status bar for now, because I'm just thinking in an application that has multiple status bars, for some reason, this will become a little bit of a nuisance, but we're not there at the moment where that's a real problem. So we can defer dealing with that situation until it comes up. And then we'll have to figure out how to break it into per window information. But right now we don't have that problem, so let's not try to solve it. Instead here, we will simply, let's see, what code do I have on my clipboard? This is the on action enter. Oh, right. So here, if main status bar, I need a statusbar set override text. Oof. Yes, we will make the whole thing work automatically as long as you set up a main status bar. I think that will be really kick-ass. No! I deleted the wrong thing. Here we go, main statusbar. And also we can just, let's see. And let's just check it down here, actually. Don't have to get all fancy. Or should we get fancy? Because this can actually be part of this condition here. Yeah. I was nesting unnecessarily, and I don't want to be like that, so let's not nest unnecessarily. Let's check that condition here. That's really good. Yeah, that is really good, actually. Okay, let's try it out. So this should make it super easy to enable this for any other application. Like, for example, oh wait, what's going on here? Set main status bar, I forgot to implement that function. Okay, fine, status bar, m status bar is make weak putter to GUI status bar. Okay, there's that little dance to make a weak pointer. No big deal. Actually, do I need to do that? Do I have to jump through those hoops? Can I just do this? What happens if I just assign... I don't remember what happens. If I assign from a T to a weak putter, it should implicitly call make weak putter, actually. Oh, shoot. Okay, I didn't need to do that the hard way. Well, that's nice. Oh, dude, I've done that the hard way in a bunch of places. Anyway, so this totally works. Very cool. And then we could maybe do it for the browser, for example. Wouldn't it be nice if we saw some cool stuff in the status bar here instead of only when I hover links? Status bar. Oh, this is trickier actually because there's one status bar widget per tab in the browser. So we have multiple status bars in the application. They're all in the same window, but they are in different widgets. Interesting. Okay, well, did I just make this unnecessarily simple? Was this a bad... Because this is convenient, but what applications are served by this? Like, who else would do it this way? Like, this thing could have it, I guess. Also, now I'm wondering if the override should replace all the segments with a single segment with just the override. What do they do here? Like, okay, so I've selected some stuff. I have a bunch of metadata, and then I do this. Yeah, so it doesn't replace everything. It just puts it in the first segment, basically. I think that makes sense. Same thing here, like you don't lose the stuff on the right. Okay, yeah, so that's probably a silly idea. Okay, I think maybe I accelerated a little too quickly with making this all taken care of by application. So let's backtrack on that approach. Because I did not think about what to do in situations where you have multiple status bars within the same window, for example. And yeah, let's just backtrack. And main backtracking of interest is here, right? Yeah, so I think we'll just do the text editor application thing manually, and we'll have to mess with this more and discover what good APIs would be. But at least we have 99% of the plumbing done now, so we can actually get all of this information over to the client process. Also, when I start text editor, it doesn't show anything for the cursor. It's only once you click on it or you type something. Yeah, okay. So let's just go with this specialized approach for now. Yeah. Text editor. Show action long texts in the status bar. Hovering we now display the long GUI action long text property. Display a description of the currently hovered action in the text editor application's status bar. This is pretty cool. It's currently achieved by hooking the GUI application via the hooks on GUI application. In the future, we'll probably, let's say longer term, we'll probably want to find a better and more flexible abstraction, for this, since not all applications will be as simple as text editor. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for today's video. So if you made it this far, then I thank you for watching, for hanging out, and I hope you saw something interesting here today. I am personally very happy with the results, although this thing here is a little weird. Wait, new, save as. If I hover over this thing, it goes back to new. If I leave, oh, that's so strange. Wait, what the heck? I'm hovering over a separator and it shows new. So it shows the thing at index 0 if I hover over a separator. What's up with that? That doesn't seem right. What happens in menu CPP? Is separator, no, let's see. Mouse move event, okay. So you're hovering over an item index at this. If item rect contains position, I would expect the separators to let's see. Oh, I guess the separators have an identifier of 0. Oh, shoot. That's probably what's happening. So what do we do when we create these? Separator. We call add menu separator. Right. And then what happens with that? In the client connection code, you just make a menu item with type separator, sure. And I think maybe we can, we need to give them some kind of number. Or we can also just not do that. So mouse item index at, so we can say if it's a separator, we will just return -1. So if item is, item type is menu item type separator. Yeah. That's a good thing to get fixed. Oh, right, we don't have a status bar here. Okay, yeah. So that's much better. Windows Server. Don't report when hovering a menu separator. Don't enter item. Don't enter menu item when hovering over separators. Since menu separator items don't have an associated identifier, we have to make sure we don't falsely report that we've entered item 0. The default. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let's actually no, wait. It's not entirely fine. This fixes an issue where hovering over a separator would behave as if we'd hovered over the first item in the menu with regards to sending menu item entered. Yes. Yeah, okay. That's good. Okay, great. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you very much for hanging out. And I guess I will see you all next time. And of course, if you haven't already, do check out the Serenity OS Discord, which we started a week ago. It's there's a link to it in the description if you want to come chat. Anyway,